From LeBron to Steph, pretty much everybody is stunned by the newcomer French basketball player Victor Wembanyama. Taking the NBA scene by storm, the 19-year-old star has already got the biggest players talking about him. Let me first take a look at what LeBron James said about Victor. During a Lakers press conference, LeBron James was asked about his thoughts on the French player's game recently. Up till now, he's participated in 2 exhibitions against G League Ignite. As for his stats, he gathered a total of 73 points on 22 for 44 shooting, 9 3-pointers, 15 rebounds, and 9 blocked shots.
Having to guard this in transition, the ability to raise up over top of defenders.
With such amazing stats, he's got the whole NBA world buzzing. James basically called Wembanyama an alien. He stated that every season a player comes along who's like a unicorn, but Wembanyama was more unique than that. He's an alien and has blown him away with his abilities.
No one has ever seen anyone as tall as he is, but as fluid and as graceful he is out on the floor.
James added that he hasn't seen anyone as graceful, as tall, and as fluid as him this season. While comparing himself to the young player, he only wished for the player's health, both physical and mental. LeBron was concerned about the young player, since he was pushed into the limelight during the age of social media. He said that during his younger days, there wasn't a lot of social media, so King James said he couldn't imagine young players being raised in that sort of environment these days. After all, the pressure that Victor's facing right now is insane.
It's a tough task, so you gotta take responsibilities, and 3 is more than 2, so in these times you gotta do what you gotta do.
James expressed how grateful he was to not have social media at the time he was drafted because he didn't know what the outside world thought about him. All he got to do was play basketball, and that's what he wished for Victor as well. And since LeBron compared the 19-year-old to an alien, let me tell you about how else he's being described.
An NBA range 3 right here with a hand in his face, but I'm not sure how much he's feeling that hand in his face.
Giannis Antetokounmpo basically thinks Victor is from the future. Yes, so far no one's convinced that the Metropolitans player is from this world, and another young NBA sensation has praised him for his unique abilities. Giannis revealed that he actually watched Victor play back in 2021 and he was left speechless. He claimed that the young French player was incredible and that he looked like he belonged in 2045.
He's incredible, man. Like, I believe in 2045, everybody is going to look like Victor.
The Greek freak added more praise to the 19-year-old by explaining that he had so many skills. He could block shots and was incredibly fast for his size. Apart from that, Giannis also believed that he was a real threat when he played on defense. It wasn't just his skills that got Giannis in awe, it was the way he was built too.
Having to guard this in transition, the ability to raise up over top of defenders.
Giannis claimed that even though the French star was 7'2", he didn't let his size become a hurdle. The 2-time MVP also added that there wasn't a single player that he had seen like him until now. According to the Greek freak, Wemby can dribble like a guard, shoot over you, block shots, and run down the floor super fast.
But he's not a guy that's going to really be able to dominate with his back to the basket because he doesn't have a strong base.
All of this left him stunned, as he added that everyone else needed to be ready for Wembanyama because he was definitely coming prepared. Besides Giannis and LeBron, another superstar also commented on Wemby's OP skills. It's none other than Steph Curry. And just like everybody else, Curry also compared him with a fictional figure. He called him a 2K creative player.
Yeah, he's like the 2K creative player. Every point guard that wants to be 7 foot.
Then Steph went on to explain that he described in this way because Wemby gives him them cheat code vibes. After all, nobody can forget those demigods from 2K games, am I right? Well, Wemby is a real-life example of one of them. And honestly, that's just crazy. But how else can you expect these guys to react if Victor keeps up his elite play?
Well, I was wondering when Scoop was going to try Victor, and he does on this possession, but that is advantage Victor.
Curry then assured all the fans that Victor was definitely the frontrunner for the NBA's 2023 draft. But that's not the end of all the hype that Wembanyama has been getting these days. Phoenix Suns player Kevin Durant also joined the discussion and shared a few words about Victor. Durant basically expressed how happy he was to watch him play. He stated that his performance and talent just put a smile on his face. He couldn't help but admire him. Durant also thought that with a player like Victor emerging onto the basketball scene, it held a lot of promise for the game as a whole.
This is a nice turnaround. He had McDuffie on the block. The fadeaway goes up and in.
To have a player like Wembanyama, who's 7'5" with shoes pretty much do everything on the court, was an amazing thing to watch. KD also added that the NBA will be in a whole lot of trouble when Wembanyama joins the NBA.
The league's really in trouble when he comes in, and I want to see how it plays out.
But at the same time, he expressed how excited he is to have him in the NBA. And Wemby's fellow French basketball player, Rudy Gobert, had already called it. He claimed that he had known Victor since he was 13 and had always known that he was going to be unique. Gobert was convinced that he couldn't be compared to anyone. That's how good the player was at the moment. So with all that praise around him, let me tell you about how the French player fared in the NBA mock drafts. Victor Wembanyama has remained at the top of the NBA mock drafts this year. Many believe he's going to be one of the top 2 picks at the 2023 NBA draft.
In the league forever.
Many believe that he's going to end up going to a weak team like the Pistons or Orlando. He's been called a franchise-changing player by many NBA scouts and executives, so there's no doubt in my mind that he's going to be the top pick this year. Following him will be none other than G League Ignite's Scoot Henderson. The 18-year-old just returned from an injury and has been putting on some excellent numbers. Following behind him might be Anthony Black from Arkansas. While the third pick is still unclear, Black has been pitched by many team executives as a highly effective scorer. So let's see if any of these predictions come true or not. And while the world prepares to watch Wembanyama get drafted in the NBA, he has other plans.
Wembanyama, throwing it down.
The French basketball player hopes to represent his home country in the World Cup. While preparing for FIBA windows, Wembanyama claimed that he didn't want to miss the FIBA World Cup next summer. He added that it was very important for him to defend his country. While this may seem like an exciting prospect, I don't think it would be entirely possible. You see, he's definitely going to be drafted by the NBA with the number 1 or 2 pick. So obviously, whichever team drafts him will want to reduce his chances of injury as much as possible. So let's see if that will actually end up happening, and fans get to see Victor take out his French jersey for the FIBA World Cup. Even though Wembanyama has expressed his excitement to play at the FIBA World Cup, he wasn't too happy with them lately, especially after FIBA published a fake interview with him on their website. The 19-year-old basketball sensation went on Instagram to reveal that FIBA posted a fake interview with him. He clearly expressed his shock and concern that his fans joined him too. FIBA then quickly issued a statement confirming that the interview published on their website was indeed fake. Wow, talk about embarrassing. FIBA added that they've removed all the promotional content about the interview and the interview itself. They also apologized to the player and to his fans for causing all the confusion. I'm sure there's some intern at FIBA who's getting all the blame for this, but what matters is that it's been removed and there's been no harm done. At least I think there hasn't. Victor didn't comment on FIBA's statement, and, well, the whole thing's done and dusted. Well, that's all for how the NBA world is reacting to Wemby.